The Memphis Interfaith Coalition for Action, or MICAH, held a demonstration last night through the streets of downtown Memphis. The marchers called for accountability from the Memphis Police Department.
And joining us now to talk more about that protest and other issues is Tyler Foster, the Vice President of MICAH, to join us here in studio. So welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. The U.S. Justice Department wanted to have a consent decree over the police department, but the mayor decided against that. Now, this is all in the wake of the Tyree Nichols case, and so we wanted to mention that. So before we get into last night's protest, let's talk about what Memphis Interfaith Coalition in Action and Hope is all about.
So MICAH is a coalition of various community organizations, nonprofits, faith congregations, and at-large members who are dedicated to social justice issues, particularly in the Memphis area. So we bring all these different groups together and advocate for various social justice issues. Our primary areas of focus are education equity, economic equity, and race and class equity in the criminal justice system.
All right, so you all held a demonstration last night in light of the consent decree that was that the mayor decided not to go into. What do you all want? What is your stance on this?
So Mayor Young recently announced the appointment of a 9-member task force who would oversee reform efforts into the Memphis Police Department. Those individuals were handpicked by Mayor Young. The community did not have any sort of say over who is chosen for that. And so what we want is this process to be collaborative. We want to work with the task force, and we as a community need to have a say in what happens with the Memphis Police Department. We're the ones who live in this community, work in this community, so it's very important to MICAH and our partner organizations that we have some say over what happens with this advisory task force.
As a law student, I'm sure you've sent a letter to the mayor about this. Have you gotten a response from him about it?
So we actually, MICAH and our partner organization circulated a petition demanding that he sign the consent decree. The petition amassed thousands of signatures. His response to the petition was that it would be too costly to implement the reforms set forth and recommended in the DOJ report. What our response is then it's too costly not to implement these needed reforms. People are continually harassed, abused, and mistreated by the Memphis Police Department. That was detailed extensively in the DOJ report, so it's time for systemic change within the Memphis Police Department.
Well, as we know, Judge Bernice Donald, who is a former federal appeals court and federal district judge and also a former general sessions judge, a bankruptcy judge, someone who has deep experience on the bench, is going to lead this advisory panel that is going to review Memphis Police Department practices and procedures and try to hold the police department accountable for its actions. And this is the closest thing that the mayor is able to do right now to agree to. And you think that's not enough, right?
I think Judge Donald, she was a phenomenal judge and is a phenomenal attorney. Her credentials are impeccable. We believe that she's a great person to lead the task force. However, we do have concerns about the independence of her efforts, as well as the power that she will have to require Memphis Police Department and the city to change its practices. She stated that it would ultimately be up to Chief Davis and Mayor Paul Young as to what changes are implemented and how those changes, how the recommendations are ultimately enforced. We know that, quite frankly, the Memphis Police Department and the city of Memphis does not have a great track record when it comes to managing the police department, providing oversight, accountability, and transparency to the citizens of Memphis. So we are going to make sure to work collaboratively with the task force and make sure that our voices are heard in this process.
All right, we want to thank you so much for being with us today. We're leader of MICAH, which is concerned about how the police department goes forward in what it does. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Ron Childers joins us now with our forecast. Ron.